I am using the adorable owls from the SaleABration's catalogue. This cute little set comes with 3 adorable owls. It's called adorable owls. I mean, I'm sort of stumped for words now. That's thrown me a bit that I actually use that. So they are adorable. They're very, very cute. You've got kind of like a party one, which can be used for different types of celebration. You've got this cute little boy type of one with a little bow tie, and then this little flying owl. I have used this one a couple of times in different projects, which I am currently going to do a local class on for colouring. So colouring is a bit of a passion of mine. So this was similar to the original colourings that I did for a card when I first got my SaleABration Adorable Owl set. The orange pumpkin pie, and this one is bashful blue. So very similar kind of colourings. I really like these owls in non-traditional colors. They kind of have that cartoon look about them, and these ones here I've used Stampin' Blends. I've used, on this one was the watercolor pencils, and on this one was the blender pen with ink. So that's a local class that I am doing in my home at the end of January. So if you are local to me and you are keen on learning some colouring techniques and using this very, very cute set you can either choose one of the owls or use all 3. It doesn't really matter. I will be doing that. But for today, I'm going to be using these cute little owls, all 3 of them, and I'll show you how. I'm going to be using them as a background stamp, as well as one coloured feature owl as well. Along with that, I am using the beautiful shapes dies. So this is them here. You've got some what I call beehive dies, as well as these circular ones and these sort of retro looking ones, and it's the retro ones I'm going to use today. I am going to be using black cardstock and white embossing powder for my sentiment. I don't tend to do a lot of embossing, so this is a really good one for me to quickly show you how I do it. Very similar to everybody else, we will be using Versamark ink also. A little sneeze coming on, so if I sneeze, excuse me. So I'm going to start with Whisper White, Parakeet Party, and Tahitian Tide. So I have cut all 3 A4 sheets, because I am in Australia, A4 sheets in half. So this creates a whole heap of blank card bases for myself, as well as a set for today's card. So today's card, I am going to use the Tahitian Tide as my background of my card. And this is how we're going to, I'm just going to fold it, use my bone folder to make it nice and flat and score it down. And I am going to bring in, my Parakeet Party is going to be cut with my Stampin' Up trimmer. And I've had a couple of people ask me recently, oh, you know, what's the best trimmer? I'll be honest, having done scrapbooking and card making for a long time, I've had several trimmers. I've had the traditional guillotine style, as well as these sort of styles with the running or rotary cutter. I have to admit, not being biased, but these ones are pretty amazing. So I am going to take off enough of this, so it is 1/2 centimetre, so that is 14.3 centimetres. Oops, I almost got it wrong, by 10, because our card base itself is 10.5 folded, 10.5 by 14.8. So I'm doing 1/2 centimetre smaller, and this is going to make our first background. So we will use some of these scraps as well, and I'll show you in a moment where we're going to use those. This is a very basic card, great for a class for beginners or someone wanting a quick card. So now for this one, this is going to be our main background. So again, set 1/2 centimetre less, so that this time is 9.5 by 13.8. So just gives those borders when we layer this all together. So we've got one layer and another layer there, like so. Now I'm not going to glue those together. I'm going to pop my trimmer to the side for the moment, and I'm going to use my white, which is my background, I guess you could call it. And I will use some of the offcut of the white as well. Now today I am going to use all 3 stamps, and they are still fairly new, so they like to kind of stick still to my case. And I'm going to use Memento, plain old Memento black. So this is, the whole idea of this is that I am just going to stamp lots of them onto our background, coming off the edges. So I have got scrap paper down, and they're going to be in a variety of positions. So we've got one there, and I start with just 2 of each, so I can sort of position them around the edges. This one I'm going to do upside down. Oopsies, I hope I messed that one up. My stamp case was in the way. Oh, perfect. Now I'm going to take this one off for a minute. Again, pop it in here, not forgetting to clean them later. Here's our next one. Here's a little bow tie man, and we're going to use him. And I'm going to go one in the middle, so that I do get it between those 2, like that. Now I was kind of inspired by one of the artisan team, and I will pop that link to that card below. They did a similar idea where quite a few of the stamps were background stamps. So I'll pop one here. I'm just going to pop one up here as well, and he's going to be, oh, I might do it in the corner, just so you get that continuous look. And for our 3rd stamp, which is the flying one, which is the one I have used the most so far, peel him off and stick him on my block, stamp him up, and I want to try and get him as much as I can, but if I don't get the whole image, that's okay too. So try and position him in a way that he's going to get most on there. And then another little one down here, and this is where I then fill in some of the gaps. So there's a little gap there. It won't really matter which stamp I use, like so. And then another one over in this corner. Like I said, it won't really matter which way you do it, as long as it doesn't sort of overlap any of our main images. There we go. Now there is a bit of a gap here, and that's okay because our sentiment will probably go there, or one of our little owls. So like I said, I am going to use one of our owls. I think I'll use our little flying owl. He seems to be my favorite. I'm going to grab some scrap white cardstock, basic white. Move that one out of the way, and just do a simple stamp there. Okay, I'm going to colour that one in. So like I said, my colours are Tahitian Tide, Parakeet Party, and I probably will throw in, I don't know, maybe Pumpkin Pie in with that one as well. So I'll just pop some of my inks and things away. Pop up this one here, and I'm going to go and colour this one in. So let me grab my stamps. So I've got, oh sorry, it's not stamps, stamping blend. So I've got, that's my Pumpkin Pie. In the light and dark, I have Parakeet Party, light and dark, and Tahitian Tide. and dark. So I'll quickly colour this one in. Now the problem is where do I colour? So I've kind of used all of these areas as my main one. I start with the small areas, so like the feet, the beak and the inside of the ears will all be, whoops, pumpkin pie. Something nice and bright. And literally just add a bit of colour. And the beak and the ears. And you see I'm not using the entire space because I'm going to come in with the lighter colour and go over the top and drag out. Now these ones I haven't got dies for, so I will have to hand cut this. Now which combination? I know that I definitely want blue for the eyes. So because I want blue for the eyes, which I'll start with, a bit of light. And again, don't use everything. Just leave that for now. So what I want is I want this section here, his little peak on his head and his chest in the same blue. So I'm going to... Now you'll notice when I colour, I am really scrappy to begin with. Watching me colour is probably not very exciting, but I know that there are people out there that get scared of this kind of thing. Don't forget his ears, because his ears come off here. Now we're going to go with the darker. Down here, some of the darker. So I just try to have some dark and some light. The dark I tend to put in wherever there should be shadows. So, or a little bit of a highlight. And the trick to this is that you can use later on some kind of white gel pen to go back in, and we add a couple of dots and it actually makes a huge difference. Now I've used the little tiny end for that. I'm going to go back in with the brush just in the light to kind of blend. I go over the darker and then onto the lighter, over the darker and onto the lighter. Doesn't matter if you have a couple of spots that are white, that's actually perfect. I'm going to go back in to my eyes, just add a little bit more. You can see him starting to pop now. So of course green. Now green is not traditional for your owl, neither is the blue, but you will find that these are really, really cute when they're coloured in those alternative colours. So we're going to do the tips of his wings. They look like little hands. Part of underneath and to the side of some of his body, and again sort of the outer edges of his face and down these middle bits. We'll go to the lighter colour. This time I'm going to go with the brush because I want a bigger space, much bigger, and I'm doing like little strokes. And again, leave a little bit white, that's okay. The thing about blender pens is that you don't go too close to the edges because it will bleed a little bit, and I just got a little bit of bleeding there. Okay. Now, once it starts to dry, it does lighten up. So I do go back with my light colour into those shadowed areas. So they are buildable, these pens. They do build a little bit. Don't stress too much if you get a little bit in the wrong spot. Now I'm going to show you now, whilst we're still colouring. I'm going to bring this up to the camera. Hope you've been able to see that. I didn't even look. You can see some of the shadowing and that. Now, watch him transform. Grab my white gel pen. I'm going to start adding some little dots just here and there, random little rows, maybe even a little line, little dot, dot, dot. I like to do little clusters, and they kind of form almost like a highlight. Doesn't matter what you do with it, there they are, little dots. Very, very cute. Now before I move him to the side, I am going to use my Wink of Stella. Now if you don't have one of these, if you're like me and you didn't get onto the bandwagon early in your stamping, now is the time. Now mine is a little bit temperamental, have to admit. So I have been using this one not for that long. When I squeeze it, it's kind of got a bit, I don't know if you can see it or not. It's kind of got a little bit that comes on the outside. I don't think it's supposed to do that, but it works for mine. Okay, now watch the transformation. Whoops. It does tend to go over the top. We can dot, 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 because it will flatten. Not a lot of shimmer and shine in that yet. Hang on. A little bit. Whoa, I accidentally put some out. Okay, and I can spread it over. Now, don't fret. It will dry. I'm not going over my entire image. But, can you see it? See the sparkle? Oh, I don't know if you can. A little bit in that light there. Now, again, this is kind of buildable as well. So you can go back in. Sorry, I'm pulling it off camera because I am trying to see where it goes. And you can see it kind of pooling on there. That's okay, just leave it. Pooling is fine. It will eventually dry flat. And that's where you're going to get your most sparkle anyway. Okay, I'm going to let him dry for a few minutes. Can you see that sparkle or not? Maybe. Probably still a bit wet for you to see it. And it's only very subtle. Like I said, now I've made a big mess on my desk, and that's okay. So going back to our card. Here we go. Here is our little background. Do I want this background to be quite so boring? Probably not. Here we go. Oops. I'm going to pop him on there like that. So I may want the blue in the background, but I might just leave it. I think I might leave it for now, and I'll move on to my sentiment. So there's some really cute sentiments in here. This one here is the one I'm going to use. Hoot hoot, you're so cute. Very, very cute. So again, now I'm going to bring it across, and we're going to move on to, I'll move some of these out of the way, onto our black cardstock. And I'm going to use Versamark ink. Now, Versamark ink, if you haven't heard of it before, is a watermark stamp ink. So and excuse mine is a little bit dirty. A brand new one is a lot nicer looking than this, but you can get refill ink. So you can pop ink onto this one. And it'll reabsorb, and it's great. Now, what I love about this ink is that it is sticky. So because it is sticky, we can use the embossing powder. Now, embossing powder is a very fine powder, and I think it is made out of like plastic. Now, mine is getting old. I need to order more, but it is super fine. And I put it in a little container, which happens to be the old Tupperware. I think these were for slices of cake or maybe sandwiches. And I keep it in there because it's easy, and I'll show you how. So here we go. This here is an embossing buddy. So in, I think it was the last catalogue that's just run out, and if I don't know if it'll still be in the shop, but you can get a tray that comes with all sorts of things, including this embossing buddy. I'm not using the tray today, but what is good about this is I can pop it on here, and you can see a little bit of powder that's come on there. I'm just going to rub it over. What this does is it stops any random little bits of that powder, which will melt when I use the embossing tool. It stops it from being in the background. So I ink up my stamp nice and juicy. Now what I have discovered is I am heavy-handed. So I am just going to pop it here and be, not press too hard, Rachel. Please don't press hard. It will give you a nice image. There you go. It's hard to see. There it is. Now I'm going to bring in my powder. I'm going to pop my lid on my Versamark first, and I'm going to simply get a little scoop, and I am going to run it over the top, and I'm going to get another scoop. See how it sticks? And another scoop. Run it over the top. one more. And just tap it off straight back into the container. What's good about that, and just gave a little blow, is that there's no mess. It just goes straight back into the container. And if you've got a bigger stamp, you just do it in sections. So here it is here. You can see there is still a little bit of that white powder that has stuck. Give it a good blow, not too hard because you will blow everything off. And then I have a nice little paintbrush that I'm just going to get those to move, and I give it a little blow. And again, now you're not going to get every single bit, but you're going to get close. And you just have to take your time because you don't want to take it off all of that. Yeah, look how nice that cleaned up. Okay, here we go, the magic. Let's hope that you will be able to see this. Is I'm bringing in my embossing tool, sorry. Turn it on. I let it go for just a second before I make it start. And then the magic happens. So just watch, it will start to turn and go shiny. Oh no. One little bit has already stuck. Oh, it's come off and stuck. That's all right. Can you see it changing? It's changing colour. Oh, there we go. Now, I've learnt the hard way. Do not touch it. Count to 5, do whatever you need to do, but don't touch it just yet. Now, you can, especially on the black, do this little trick. Pop it down, get a scalpel, and just scrape a little bit. It will scrape that off. And then, there we go. And it does kind of, it's a bit hard because I'm trying to get you on camera so you can see. So you can kind of get most of it off. So it's not quite so stark on there. Now, I am going to use the retro looking element here. I'm hoping it's not too big actually, now that I say that. Maybe I'll use the other one. No, that would be perfect. It's pretty big, but it will be perfect, I think. Let me give that one a go. If I don't like it, I will use the other one. I don't think the other one is going to quite fit. Could. Let's use the smaller one then. So just excuse me for 1 second whilst I run this through my machine. And here we have it. So it's kind of got a little bit of embossing on it. I don't know if you can see just by running it through. Hoot, hoot, you're so cute. Now, another tip that I have, please don't look at the mess, however, is that this is what I have on the side. It is a magnetic plate. It's actually got 2 big magnets on the back. I have learnt the hard way of losing a lot of my dies. Now, yes, I do need to go through it and pop them all away, and there's a lot here still from Christmas. But I tend to use these a lot so that as soon as it's come out of my machine, I throw it in here. There it is there. And it's just literally sticks. So I don't lose dies. I think I've only found a couple. So I've only lost, I think, 2 now, instead of what I had originally lost was about 5. So here we go. Now, this has dried a little bit more now, so can you see the sparkle? I'm hoping you can see that on camera. It's very, very pretty. Okay, let's get to putting this together. I'm going to use my glue, my Tombow glue. This one is almost out. So like I said, very simple card. Let's get that parakeet party onto the Tahitian tide. Yeah, I'm a messy person when it comes to popping these together, and line it up. A little bit of glitter and things on there, but you're not going to see it because I am going to stick this one on next. Okay, and throw this on. Now, of course, this could have gone on any which way because they are all which way but loose. And there's our background. Hoot, hoot. You're so cute is going to go here. And then I am just going to cut this one out and pop him on. So let me grab my scissors, which someone has stolen. I'll have to use old funky ones instead. Oh no, there's a better pair up there. One side. Okay, let's cut him out. I always cut around first and cut him like this, and then just a little white border around the outside, like so. And cutting him out just around that. Just try to imagine that little line. Of course, if you struggle with this, then using a pencil that you can rub out later and drawing a line to cut along might be easier for you. And yeah, just twist the paper, not the scissors. So that's my little trick. And you can always go too far and then start your cutting again a little bit higher up if you think you've gone too close to your image. No one's going to see it once it's actually on your project. Some people love this and think it's therapeutic. Not me. I'd much prefer a die that I can pop through the machine and get a little bit more accuracy. However, I really wish they did have a magnetic plate, because that would mean that I wouldn't have to use washi tape, which sometimes gets stuck to your image, even though it's supposed to be removable and come off. And I've tried sticky notes, and sometimes they just don't stick enough. Especially to those bigger dies, they just don't hold it in place. So please, Stampin' Up, please try to get that magnetic plate working and out to customers and demonstrators, because I'm sure there'd be lots more people that would appreciate it as much as what I would. So you can see, look, my little white border is not accurate. When you get back to your starting point, go really slowly and try to even it around a bit. Mine's not perfect, that's okay. Hoot hoot, you're so cute. Now, it doesn't stand out that much against all of that. So what I am going to do is I am going to create a little background tag, I guess you could call it, in the green. So I'm just going to create a little block. I'm going to cut it. So this block is our leftover piece, and I'll show you what we're going to do with it in a second. Bring this in. Is our leftover piece from before. So it measures, let's go 6.5, because let's go 6. It is an offcut. So I'm going to go 6 wide and 8, 9 long. Let's go 9 long. So it gives you that slightly longer background piece, like so. And for this one, I am going to create a black backing. So again, this one was 6 wide, so I'm going to do 6.3. So it's not much more. 6.3 and 9.3 long. Just a very small black border. Black with these bright colours, just as an accent, really help lift the colours up. Right, so we're going to glue this one onto this one after I have used that Versamark. And the Versamark, again, it's going to have Hoot Hoot, You're So Cute all over it. So watch the magic happen. Ready? And I'm just going to stamp it randomly, but fill in the page or the piece of paper. Sorry. Doesn't matter if they overlap a little bit. And you'll be able to see when I lift this up closer, right, how cool this is. I'm just wanting to make sure there's no real major gaps like that. Okay, here we go. This is the Versamark doing its magic. Can you see that? It literally is a watermark. Now, I'm going to pop this one on here, glue it on. my handy dandy glue. Oh, I'm trying to get right to the end of my glue and it's not cooperating now because I had it laying down. Oh, come on. Wow. It is really, oh, look, it made a liar out of me. Oh no. Get a scrap bit of paper and spread it out a little bit. There we go. Can learn from all of my mistakes. And we're going to stick it on here. So you'll be able to see it is a very small black border that you end up with, and that's perfect for here. Take this one off. I'm going to pop him here on a little bit of an angle, okay? Oh, this feels like it's coming off on one corner. That's okay, we'll fix it. On a little bit of an angle like so. We're going to pop this one with some dimensionals up. Hoot, you're so cute. Now, before I stick it down, I am going to use some bias binding tape. Is that what it's called? What's it actually called? It's actually called Whisper White seam binding, sorry, seam binding. And I will show you why. So we're going to get our Tahitian tied in the blue. And we are going to use some of this to create a little bit of a wiggle. Oops, I should have put one more in there as well. If I can squeeze it in, there we go. I'm going to use this one on the brush end. I am going to drag it along, hold it down, and then with my thumb, drag it along. Again, with my thumb, drag it along. There we go. Change the color completely. Matches my project. So great. And, oops, cut it off. And the end is colored as well. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to just create a bit of a zigzag pattern here with my seam binding tape ribbon, and we're going to go 1, 2, 3. Don't worry if it's too long. Okay, I'll show you. We're going to actually cut some of that off. I'm going to pop that onto my project here, like so, and then I'm going to trim it off. So here, 1, here another, like that. And then our little owl is actually going to, that's probably, it's going to pop up there as well. So more, oops, dimensionals on our owl, so he pops up the same as our little sentiment. Now you can get the mini ones of these, and I have got some, but I don't tend to use them all that much. I do cut some of these in half because I want the longer, skinnier ones. So there we go. Okay, Hoot Hoot, you're so cute, like that. Now the only thing missing, because it's a project that I have done and I tend to do a lot of, is to add a little bit of bling. So what do I want? Now all of my bling is all mixed up. I have my niece here in the holidays and she was using them, oops, here they are, using my rhinestones as earrings. She's only 3, so she was sticking on some of these as earrings. Now again, let's customize these. Let's make them blue. Again, Tahitian tied. I think I'll use the darker one. I might use the lighter one. Okay, get the brush end. Very gently just go over. Oh no, I'm going to have to use the darker one. Look at that. Go over the, just to make it blue. 1, 2, and 3. Always odd numbers. Now I use my scalpel to pop my gemstones on. Come on. Here we go. So we're going to have one. And try to pop your gemstones in a bit of a triangle. Oh no. Triangle look, one. Because that creates symmetry. And here we go. A finished card with a bit of bling. Thanks for joining me, everyone. Don't forget to pop over to my Facebook and follow me on there. Like, comment, share, and subscribe on this channel as well. And pop over to all of our other team members. They've been working hard on creating some SaleABration products for you to be inspired by and getting your orders in and getting those free products for yourself. Thanks for joining me again for our adorable owls, and I will see you next month.